Hello and welcome to Cosmic Diaries. This is Priya Kale, your astrologer, and today the moon is in Aquarius as I record this. We're just past the quarter moon. We're between the recent Scorpio new moon and solar eclipse that occurred on the 23rd of October, and we're now moving towards the Taurus full moon on the 6th of November. And this recent eclipse was the second in a pair of eclipses. The first one was the Aries full moon eclipse, which occurred on the 8th of October at 15 degrees of Aries. The moon was at 15 degrees of Aries. I want to talk to you a little bit today about, yes, the eclipse season and this Taurus Scorpio axis and the Taurus full moon that we're coming up on. I'm not going to get into the dates of everything. I have written out the November monthly horoscopes, which I'll be sending out to subscribers either later tonight or sometime tomorrow, as well as a detailed November monthly report covering the astrology for November, which, I'll give you an overview right now, but there's a lot going on this month. There's a stellium of planets moving through Scorpio, and Saturn is in Scorpio. So as we near the end of the month, all of these planets will make conjunctions to Saturn in Scorpio. And Saturn has been in Scorpio now for the past 2 years, so it's like, especially since this recent new moon in Scorpio and the solar eclipse. Since then, this month, leading up to the end of November, as these planets all cross this conjunction to Saturn, it's almost like we're getting a crash course, or rather, the lessons of the past 2 years, they're coming back around in a condensed form. And question is, have you learned your lessons? Are you ready to move to the next step? Are you ready to move to the next level in your life? So there is that sense of graduating or crossing a threshold into a whole new chapter. Oh, and a special shout out to Scorpio, Scorpio risings, and Scorpio moons. Just given the intensity of the season, I'm offering a special discount just for you. So if you're interested in getting a consultation, now would be a great time. So just email me at priya@cosmicdiaries.com and we'll set something up. I do have limited sessions available for this. So we have about 5 to 7 sessions available. So if you're interested. And this is, again, not just for the past 2 years. I've recorded the Mars and Saturn conjunction videos, which you should check out if you haven't seen them already, because this month is a progression of what happened around the conjunction and the story that's being played out. So now here we are. We're between the recent Scorpio new moon and solar eclipse, which took place on the 23rd of October. And we're moving towards this full moon in Taurus on the 6th of November, which will take place at 14 degrees of Taurus. And the sun at the time will be at 14 degrees of Scorpio, Venus at 17 Scorpio, and Saturn, of course, is at 24 Scorpio. At this time, Mercury is still in Libra, and Mercury currently is now moving through its final shadow phase. So, again, I would recommend you sign up for the subscriber service. It does help support these videos, but you can get it. I'll be writing all these dates in detail, so you'll have something to refer back to. And I will be getting into these aspects in greater detail there. But Mercury is still moving through its final shadow phase. So whatever's been going on since Mercury first entered shadow in September, we've uncovered a deeper story while Mercury was retrograde. And Mercury stationed direct on the 25th of October. So 2 days after this recent Scorpio new moon. And Mercury has still not passed the degree of the full moon and lunar eclipse, the Aries lunar eclipse. So there's a sense that as we move towards this Taurus full moon, there's still more coming to light that was first coming to light back then. And the Taurus Scorpio axis. So let's talk about that a little bit. This is the most physical axis of the zodiac. It's one of the most powerful axes of the zodiac. It deals with issues of power and control. This is where the irresistible force meets the immovable object. Taurus being the immovable object energy. It is the first earth sign of the zodiac. So it's material energy in its base form. It rules your income, money, your possessions, your commitments. Mostly it rules values. It rules your physical body. So Taurus is nature itself, because the earth, it's steady and unmoving, but at the same time it's also always revolving. And we do have seasons, even though they come gradually. And that's the nature of Taurus. The change happens, but it happens very slowly. Whereas in the other extreme of Scorpio, the change is constant. But again, you see that polarity of the only constant is change. So something is always in a state of evolution. And when we come to a time of a full moon, what we're doing is any full moon, we're balancing opposing forces. Yes, those get played out in our relationships and situations around us, but we're balancing these polarities within us. The recent new moon and solar eclipse in Scorpio, Venus was in the heart of that eclipse, in conjunction to that eclipse. So again, Venus is the ruler of Taurus as well as Libra. So your relationships are going through deep changes at the moment. And more importantly, you are going through deep changes at the moment. And so as a result, how you relate with others is changing. In my report, I call the recent new moon and solar eclipse kind of the beginning of the end. And I say that not to be scary. As much as you began a new cycle with the new moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is all about death and rebirth. You're also ending chapters, and certainly with this full moon, the question is, what are the patterns you've outgrown in your relationships? What are the relationships you've outgrown? Even if right now what's coming up is perhaps making you feel powerless. The Sun, Venus, Mercury, Saturn are all in Scorpio, coming back to Scorpio. Scorpio is all about reclaiming your power. Because yes, there may be a sense of walking into the unknown with a situation, whether it's a relationship or a financial situation or whatever is going on in your life, especially in the area of Scorpio. It's about reclaiming your power in a situation, looking at what is already present, recognizing the reality of something and being in no denial of it. Only then can you take the steps that you need to change something. You have the power to change something, but it's just a matter of doing it consciously. Because Scorpio energy, if it's not handled with awareness, if it's not done consciously, then it can be destructive. There is deeper potential in something, but it's also being honest about the reality of something and recognizing that things may take time to change. The biggest lesson and the hardest lesson at the same time, and the easiest way to move about this is to remember that you can't change, you can't force someone else to change, and you can't really change situations outside of yourself. You can only change yourself. And once again, you're balancing these polarities within you. So as you change, then automatically that change in your being ripples out into your universe and into your world. And so you're going to do things differently, and so automatically people will respond to you differently, and things will start to change. Taurus is about what survives life, death, and rebirth. And Scorpio tells us that death is not the end, it's just the end as we see it. And that although Scorpio and Taurus are on the surface the most physical axis of the zodiac and represent our physical earthly attachments, what they really teach us and what they really ask us to go beyond the physical. Scorpio asks that we go beyond the veil, and Taurus represents values, which goes beyond the physical. So why is a diamond precious? Because we've given it that value. So decide what you value, who you value, how you value them, and if you value someone, are you nurturing a relationship or a situation, Or are you clinging to it and trying to force it to be something that you want it to be, as opposed to just appreciating what is? Or then acknowledging what is not working in a situation and recognizing you can't force another person to change, but you can be honest about what your needs are in a situation. And then that means sometimes recognizing difficult truths and walking into the unknown. But that's what we're doing here, is rebalancing. There's no point in getting into power struggles at this point. It's how do you learn to merge with another, and for that you have to see, again, coming back to your values, who you align, who you share values with. And once you can align with people who you share values with, then everybody can gain. And the gain, yes, can be very real and tangible in terms of monetarily, and also in terms of emotionally, the security you have by deepening connections. But these are again connections that are forming and deepening on their own. And the only part you have control over is what you are putting into it, because that's what's going to grow. Taurus is a reminder of as you sow, so shall you reap. And if you look back to what was going on at the time of the Scorpio new moon, when the cycle began, you're going to see that this Taurus full moon is bringing you to a culmination of what began then, and really this whole eclipse season. Again, Scorpio is about asking us to let go of attachment to how something evolves, but being honest with yourself about how you feel about a situation and how you don't compromise your values because you're attached to something. Because at the end of the day, all you have are your own values to live by. And Saturn and Scorpio is asking us to stay anchored to that, to your integrity. Even as a chapter is ending, there are new chapters beginning now. And the question is, what do you want to leave behind? And what do you want to carry with you? What do you truly value in a situation? Nothing lasts forever. People die, relationships change. What matters is what was exchanged and how we've grown from our exchanges with others. And you can't carry your physical possessions, material possessions, into the afterlife. The only thing that lasts beyond life and death is love. And whether it is in life or death, how do you honor the love that was shared in a relationship? That's all that really matters. Yes, the Taurus full moon is showing you what you need, but Scorpio is saying let go of the expectations of where this will come from. And at the end of the day, any happiness that is going to be lasting has to come from within and cannot be rooted in anything external, because all that is external will pass. The good and the bad, and really neither exists. Life is just happening. Question is, how do we flow with life in the midst of change, so that every experience is something that you cherish and that touches you deep inside, and you grow from it? How do you value every exchange that you have with another human being in the flesh? Because these moments are precious and we don't know how long we have with another. You can't live in the fear of losing someone, because that commitment comes from inside out, and you can't hold on to another person. You can only share of yourself. Trust that you're not going to lose anything that's of true value. So, and the less you cling, the easier it will be for something to change and to just reveal itself. Because after the Taurus full moon is bringing a revelation. There may be intense emotions. It's a very sensual sign, so this is very sensual, sexual, seductive energy as well. It's about knowing your own desires, or what you are attached to, what your hooks are. And then doing whatever you do it consciously. If you want to enter into something deeper, you enter it deep. But you do it knowingly. and be in no denial. And if you're not sure, then flow with something for a bit before you dive in. You choose where you invest your energy. Owning your feelings, acknowledging your feelings, doesn't mean you have to act on everything you feel, and doesn't mean that everything you feel is real. Because there may be a lot of past emotions surfacing, situations triggering past emotions. So, and Mercury, as I mentioned earlier, has not even re-entered Scorpio. So soon after the full moon, on the 10th, Mars will conjunct Pluto, square Uranus. Then Venus is approaching a conjunction to Saturn on the 12th. Also on the 10th, Mercury moves out of shadow. So there's a sense that the full moon is bringing huge revelations, which are then ushering us into a whole new chapter. So pay attention to what comes up around this full moon. The universe in life is offering you a window right now to put an old chapter behind you and to begin a new chapter. And if you're not going to do it, the universe will do it for you. We humans are strange creatures. We learn lessons in love, in pain, sometimes better than we do in love. And truth is, we have a choice. And right now you have a choice. So as bittersweet as certain endings may be, or certain realizations may be, they are liberating you. They are liberating you to live a more authentic life. And it may not be easy to end some of these chapters, especially where there's a lot of history, because Saturn is all about history, and with Scorpio, these ties go deep beyond life and death. So it's hard for that change to happen. Taurus holds on to things. So with this polarity of this full moon in Scorpio, we're moving stuck energy, we're moving stuff that's been in place forever. And the fear of Scorpio is the unknown, because we don't know what's coming. And so we cling to all that is familiar, even if it is painful. And even if it isn't serving us, because that's all the reality we know. But then full moons come around and eclipses come around, and the universe, it's pushing us out of the nest to say, with the Sagittarius new moon that is at the end of the month, fly. But first we're coming to this full moon in Taurus. You're learning your own power. You're learning that you have grown up. And as the full moon comes around, ground yourself in what's real, ground your emotions in what's real. And if it feels overwhelming, very literally get back to take a walk, smell a flower, hold a book, smell a book. Bring yourself back to your senses and your present reality, and let your energy flow from there, rather than obsessing about something that is out of your control. Do what you can. All right, I'll stop there, but yeah, this is just me talking. Please do read the November report and the November horoscopes, which I'll have up on the site between tonight and tomorrow. But thank you as always for watching, and this is Priya signing off. Ta-da.